capturing the next generation of water and builder professionals. A really, really important topic to be talking about. So congratulations for being in the right workshop today. My name is Stephanie Houston, and I am the Assistant Superintendent at the San Bernardino County Superintendent of Schools. My branch is Innovation and Engagement. So I'm the facilitator, moderator for today. You can tell that I do not like the podium. So I'm going to try and use my best teacher voice at the beginning here, but I will move to the mic, I promise. So are you guys okay in the back of the room with me? Yes. Am I okay? All right. So I'm gonna try and use that teacher voice because I like to dance around. That's sort of my MO. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started with a few introductions, but I'm going to kind of try and set the stage just a little bit as to why we're here, what we're going to be talking about, and then we're going to have our panel of amazing folks introduce themselves. So I'm from the County Office of Education, and our mission there is to transform lives through education. And so we do that by really aspiring to provide leadership and advocacy and services for students and our communities so that we can really thrive economically and thrive in our future. So I always say education is economic development. And so when we're talking about the future jobs and what we're looking at in terms of the pipeline to build the workers that are going to go into the jobs, it's a really, really important topic. One of the things that we've done at the county office is we've developed an actual pathway for high school students to complete while they're in high school. The pathway is completely aligned to the next generation science standards, and it also offers an opportunity for the students to gain college credit. So the idea is that we're starting these conversations really early with students so that they can start to be thinking about a career in this industry sector from as early as 9th grade. So the other thing that we do at the county office is that we have a whole department called Alliance for Education that really bridges education with workforce and economic development. We don't always speak the same language in education and workforce. We have an entire department that is bilingual, and so they can speak both languages and they can translate when needed. And so with that, what we've been doing is we've really been engaging in implementation of our county-wide vision. So we have a vision in our county to make sure that San Bernardino County is a place that people want to work, play, and live. And there are some elements that have been identified that really, what is it that we need to make, why do people live where they live? Why do they stay there? So we know we need education, and we know we need healthcare, we know we need safety, we know we need housing, we know we need transportation. So we're all engaged in this conversation of how we can really change the trajectory and ensure that our folks stay in our communities and really grow our own communities. So that's sort of like the context of why I might be here facilitating this, although I'm not an expert in the water industry. I want to talk just a little bit also about the trends that we're seeing, right? So in the 20th century, many of you, I was kind of educated in the 20th century, and so, we understood that the traditional sort of education or career trajectory, we got on-the-job training, we had access to apprenticeships, or we went to college. Those are sort of the ways that people went into industry. Things are changing now. There's been a disruption. We're in this 21st century. We know that apprenticeship opportunities have shrunk. We know that the college careers, the college graduates that are graduating in the STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math careers has been reduced to about 15%. We know there's a shortage of workers, and the reason I have this slide on here is to kind of show you that. We've got a shortage of workers coming in, right? Fewer apprenticeships, fewer opportunities for college, or students are not taking advantage of those careers. But then we also know, and I kind of look around the room, not you all, me, but I have hair dye, there's like, there's snow on the mountains, right? So when we got snow on the mountains, we can kind of look around and say, okay, we've got an aging population, and so we've got to be able to fill that sort of baby boomer piece, and that's a lot of what we're going to be talking about. So the panel, they're the experts. So I just kind of teed up the conversation. We're going to absolutely be learning more from them. They've started some local projects that we think are worthy of replication, worthy of talking about, and hopefully to get you kind of thinking in a different direction about how we can really secure the future of this industry. So with that, I'm going to let each of them introduce themselves. So, we are starting, right? Yeah.
I was waiting for Stephanie to say Suresh, Radhakrishnan.
I know, that was going to be the hardest part of my day.
She got the spelling right and got it to fit on the slide. Good morning. My name is Suresh Radhakrishnan. I am the Organization Development and Training Manager for the Metropolitan Water District. Over the last 30 years, between LADWP and MWD, I have managed recruiting, benefits, ClassCom, organization development training, the EEO office, and a bunch of things. So kind of been exposed to what's been going on in the water industry. And I'll specifically talk today a little more about our apprenticeship program, which started in 2007 and has been very successful. We've got 128 electricians and mechanics who have gone through that program and are very successful in doing their job. Also tell you a little bit about what we call a management academy, where we realized, looking at that slide earlier, that we are losing a lot more of the people. We have more people over the age of 60 than we did under the age of 25. So we knew that we had to start developing some of our younger people to become managers, and that's one of the things that we did, and we have a very good success rate on that, and so I'll tell you a little bit more about that as we go along. And it's a real pleasure to be here with you.
Great. We're going to pass it off to Yvonne next, the order of the slides.
That's right. Hi, I'm Yvonne Hester. I'm with the Mojave Water Agency. We are responsible for water reliability in the Mojave Desert, the very arid region, and we have less than 40 employees. So how do we do this? It's through collaboration. We have a wonderful group called the Technical Advisory Committee, and it pretty much encompasses all segments of our region except one really important segment, and that's the next generation of leaders. That's how this program was developed, the Innovators High Desert Water Summit. It is a program that's developed specifically for middle and high school students. We are targeting them as our next generation of leaders. And sitting next to me, I'm very proud, is one of the students who actually participated in our program. And he is well on his way to a career in water, and I will talk a little bit more later about the specifics of our program.
Hello, my name is Andrew Canchola. As Yvonne had mentioned earlier, I was involved with their program at the Mojave Water Agency. I'm currently 19 years old. I graduated from Serrano High School in Phelan in 2018. I'm currently attending Colorado State University, where I'm studying natural resources management with a minor in sustainable water. So I'm really excited to jump into the water field and kind of find my path there. I had the opportunity to work at the Mojave Water Agency as an intern this summer, which I had some great experiences learning a lot while I've been there, definitely. I had the opportunity to go out with the USGS, do some field surveying, sampling, things along those lines. I was able to present my summer findings and my summer research yesterday to actually the board of directors at the Mojave Water Agency. So I've definitely learned a lot since I've been at the water agency, and I'll actually be heading back to Colorado tomorrow, actually, to continue my education and hopefully find a career in water and those type of things. So yeah, thank you.
Alrighty, good morning everybody. My name is CASTANOS. I'm from Victor Valley College. My title is Director of Contract Community Ed and Workforce Programs. And essentially what we do is we connect with partners in our community, whether it be the high school, whether it be workforce development and industry. And kind of going along this same message, we just ensure that the programs that we're offering are aligned with ultimately with what industry needs. And so there's some great collaboration happening with the high schools and with the industry and with workforce development. And even with our neighboring regional community colleges, there's great effort amongst the colleges in sharing resources and sharing ideas. And it's a great time. We've more recently begun getting involved with apprenticeship and pre-apprenticeship related programs. Again, ultimately just to really create this pipeline of ready entry-level workers to meet your folks' needs.
Awesome. So you can see why we have them here, right? Pretty amazing group. We're gonna have, so now you know a little bit more about who they are and where they come from and why we have them here. I'm just gonna start to ask a few questions. We're gonna allow, hopefully, for some time at the end for you to ask some questions too. But the first question is for Yvonne. And so your Innovators High Desert Water Summit is a program for middle and high school students, right? So tell us what makes it different from other school-based programs and include how you keep it engaging for students.
Okay. As you mentioned, we target middle and high school students. And this is not a school-based program. This is not part of a curriculum. This is a program we developed specifically for these students. We set aside a healthy amount in our budget, and how we encourage the schools to participate is we visit with the principals, the superintendents, we attend staff meetings, and we tell them about our program. We have competitions that are involved in this program. We bring in speakers, and we also pay for the transportation for these students to come to our event. We average 300 students each year. It does not happen at a school. We bring them to the Mojave Water Agency for part of it, and the big day for the Water Summit is actually held at an off-site location that has breakout sessions. In fact, their program looks very much like today's program here, with the exception is it's targeted to students. If you picked up a program and you look on the inside, you will see the speakers look very young, and that is by design. If any of you received an email from me last year and I was asking for a speaker, I had a couple of requirements, and one of those was I will not take somebody under 40, and preferably I want them 30 or younger. Now, that's not age discrimination, that is a marketing tool that we're using. We all know that we tend to listen to somebody who we feel that we can relate to. And that's why we bring in young speakers. We want the students to envision themselves someday on the stage talking to another group of students on what they're doing in their career to ensure water reliability in the state of California. So we have several ways that we engage them, and one of those is with an essay contest. There is some pretty good scholarship money involved in that. I won't go into too many more details about that because Andrew's going to tell his story about that.
Right, so go ahead and hand the mic off to Andrew, and he's going to tell us about his experience as an applicant in the essay contest and how that was different from the average essay contest that maybe you've experienced.
Yeah, so at first the essay contest is similar to a lot of the other scholarships for essays, so in that I started my research. The topic of the essay was to try to convince the public that drinking highly purified recycled water is okay, taking the yuck factor out of that. So to start my research, I decided to go to the Orange County Water District, where they lead pretty much the world in this process, and I found that so interesting and learned definitely a lot about water when I was there. So that was definitely a great opportunity to kind of get my foot in the door and kind of see what water professionals do on a daily basis. And so then I wrote my essay. The next step was to also include a short video about the contestants. So I included just a little bit about me, as well as kind of some of my research and findings and stuff along those lines too. Going from there, I submitted my essay and the video, and then I found out that I was one of the lucky winners to move forward with this scholarship. So then I was paired with a community mentor, which then helped revise my essay and practice my presentation skills, things along those lines, which is really cool to get involved with a mentor that kind of helps guide you and is kind of a support for you to go through this process. So I thought that's definitely something unique to this essay contest too. And then you were to present your essays to a panel of judges. There were three finalists to present to these judges, and the judges then decided who was the winner, and based on their presentation skills and their stuff like that. And then the winner of that actually then goes on to the High Desert Water Summit, like Yvonne was talking about earlier, to present to these students at this conference. And it's a great opportunity for these students to see someone that is their age too, that's passionate about water and the water field. So I thought that was definitely unique to the Mojave Water Agency for providing this essay contest, and that's kind of my story on how I got involved with this contest, and yeah, it's definitely unique to other ones too. So.
Thank you. So we're going to hand the mic to Frank, and you're going to tell us a little bit about what Victor Valley College is doing and how you are really feeding that pipeline into the building and the construction trades, but also you're going to tell us about some challenges that you're facing.
All right, thank you. So, as you may know, we have a variety of different career education programs at the college related to these, and we've had a construction technology program in existence for several years, and it's great. It specializes in specific skills. But there's also a huge pool of people that they want to do something with building and construction related, but they don't know exactly what it is that they want to do. And so recently we had the opportunity to come up with a program that we call the Construction Apprenticeship Readiness Program. And what it does is it allows the students to kind of get exposure to a variety of the different types of fields with building and construction and electrical, and to kind of top down, just enough exposure to really get their interest. And there's some great wraparound things around the program to where hopefully by the time they exit this class, they have a better idea of what possibilities are out there. Here's some pictures here that you can see. It's amazing what they can do in such a short amount of time. They can, build small houses, everything from the foundation to the structure to the electrical to painting to they can do so much in a short amount of time, and it's great because they're just getting this exposure along the way. This particular program we started just barely in this January, and we've ran 3 cohorts under this model. We've had 60 students complete. Several have placed, and several are still working on that path as well. But what we tried to do with this program was really get them ready for what the actual industry is like. So it's this particular program. It's an 8-hour-a-day program, Monday through Friday. They start at 7 a.m. And they go through, and we try to hold industry-level standards to where we enforce strict attendance, participation, things like that. And it's a very exciting program. We have field trips, guest speakers. They get a lot of hands-on, and we're working towards making it 4 credits, so that way students can get credits as well. But it's just been a really good opportunity for something new that we can provide to our community, and it's been generating a lot of interest. Fortunately, we had a grant to help kickstart it, so all the resources and funds and tuitions and field trips and things like that are covered. And so it's definitely something where we're looking to continue to have growth. And again, ultimately, our goal is to create ready workers for you, right? It's for you to inherit. And so we think we're doing a great job with that. We can always be better. We want to be better. There's only so much you can do in such a short amount of time. But that interest is there. These students, they're ready. They want to take that next step. And so that's what we want to help them do. Some of the challenges that we see with the students are, some things that maybe we see as simple things, but to them, these are huge barriers. And so if we can remove, just peel back as many barriers as possible, that's ultimately what one of our goals are. And some of the challenges are, it's getting better, but there's kind of been discouragement for folks that enter CTE or career education related pathways, mostly focused on academic, but that narrative has really changed, and we're really embracing our career education programs to want to have folks, enter these fields because there's great career opportunities. But simple things like a lot of our students, they may have issues with transportation, even simple things like getting their driver's license, and in this industry, that is just fundamentally, you have to have those things. So we work with different agencies on getting them resources, things like access to proper boots and tools and materials and things like that to get them ready to go. But ultimately, it's just boosting their confidence. Typically, when we get them earlier on, there's a lot of self-doubt and things like that. And so we want to just constantly build their confidence to empower them to know that, that they're ready to take that next step. And so ultimately, when they do, they're ready to go and move forward.
So I talked about in our county how we've got our vision to make this county a great place, and workforce is a huge piece of that. And the idea is that we're blending and blurring the lines between sectors, between different systems. And so you've kind of heard a little bit about a middle school program, you've heard now about the college, so we're going to kind of switch now to industry, and I'm going to say your name, Suresh, Radhakrishnan.
Close enough.
Close enough.
Just don't call me late for lunch.
Well, that's right. I always say late for dinner, but okay. So he's going to talk to us about apprenticeships, and he's going to really kind of get into some of the nitty-gritty of it, and in terms of what are the elements of a successful apprenticeship program, what are the requirements, what does the funding look like. So
it's Suresh. And you guys don't care if we're late for lunch, right? Because I could talk about this forever. I mean, really. So we started this program at Metropolitan Water District in 2007. One of the ingredients that are really critical to this is having supportive managers at the top. So we had Jeff Keitlinger, who is very, very supportive of it. Actually started, I think, under Ron Gistellum. But at the top, we had a lot of support. We had directors of HR, like Mike Hardboss, Diane Pittman, who have all been very supportive, and a lot of support from the operations group, because these are all people in operations. So what is apprenticeship? It's really a partnership between industry, education, and government. We couldn't do it just by ourselves. We actually had to get, like San Diego Canyon Community College teaches some of the classes for us for the apprentices. We reach out to a lot of people to try to get people into the program. So for instance, in terms of recruiting people, it's very easy to start an apprenticeship program or get into an apprenticeship program, because all you need is a driver's license, although we just heard how difficult that might be for some people. Driver's license and a GED or a high school diploma, minimum qualification to get into the program. However, there is a testing process that you have to go through to get in, and a lot of students find it very hard to even complete basic math, or basic logic, or basic English. So the first time we did it, I remember we did it, we had a huge selection process where we did the testing at the Ontario Convention Center, and we had 1,800 people who had applied. Over 1,000 of them actually showed up for the testing once they cleared the minimums. And we only had about 500 of them actually pass the written exam. So basic math, sometimes can be a hard one. Now the program itself, it's a 4-year program, covers about 7,280 hours. It's actually 4 years. So people come in and go through the program either as an electrical apprentice or a mechanical apprentice. Not a bad job for someone who is just minimum qualifications. You start out making about $45,000. 4 years later, you come out making about $65,000. And then if you add on, call-ins and standby and overtime and all that, most of them were making $80,000, $90,000 at the end of 4 years. So not bad. MWD also offers a tuition program, so some of them actually come in and start working on their bachelor's degree, so they qualify for other jobs down the road. Essentially 8 periods of study, so 6 months, every 6 months they're taking exams, and if they pass it, they move on to the next level, so that they complete at the end of 4 years. There's classroom training and on-the-job training. So essentially, half the year they're in classrooms, intermittently spread out, and then half the year they're on the job, actually doing work, so applying some of the things that they're learning. We have a training center at Diamond Valley Lake, which is our apprenticeship program center. But classes are held throughout. People come to different locations to do their classes. And then the community colleges, like I said, San Diego Canyon teaches some of our math classes, so they go through that as well. And I just want to mention, in terms of outreach, we actually, when I said the community is involved, we go to our member agencies to advertise and let them know. We've worked with employment offices, the Bureau of Indian Affairs, because we look for people out at our Parker Dam, Gene Camp facilities out there by Colorado River, near Lake Havasu. We've gone to the Veterans Administration. Veterans actually get 5 points on the test, so we actually try to recruit more veterans. We network with the cities, other utilities, winter, the women in non-traditional jobs, the MTA, and of course all the schools and colleges. So we advertise in a lot of places to get these people. The governance of the program, again, state education company partnership. We work very closely with the California State Division of Apprenticeship Standards. So they're very, very stringent standards of what is required to be completed. People have to complete these portions to actually graduate each 6 months and move on. Local education agencies. We also have something called the Joint Apprenticeship and Training Committee, JATC. This is made up of the bargaining unit members and management, as well as our training unit. And we sit down and try to decide the best ways that we can support these young people that come in. Well, not always necessarily young. I mean, we get much older people coming in too. But how can we support them to make them, to help them to pass? The proof is in the pudding as always. We have since 2007 graduated 128 people. We still have most of them at MWD. 2 or 3 of them have actually moved on to other jobs and left. Some of them actually leave and go to our member agencies, and we're very supportive of that because, as you know, Metropolitan has 26 member agencies, and we work in partnership with them. We're very happy if they go to one of the member agencies. One of the things we've done too in this last cohort of 28 people, 29 people that are going on right now, 2 employees of Eastern Municipal Water District, which is also a member agency, are in the program going through us. So if any of you are interested, if your agencies are interested, please let us know. If there is a seat, and then there's of course some funding issues we have to figure out, but we can definitely support that, or at least give you information about how to set up a program. Did we end on this slide?
Like we do, we'll just cycle through. Yes.
Great.
So we're gonna hand it off to Yvonne at this point. So, you know, getting people interested, getting youth interested in careers in this sector, it's a challenge, right? So tell us about what you do. How do you engage students? What does that look like, and what are the tools that you use?
Okay. For engagement for middle and high school students, I'm going to share a secret with you. They want to change the world. And I believe they can do that. And so our tool for engagement is problem solving. And we give them a real world problem to solve. We don't give them something simple. It is real. That's why when Andrew participated, what he had to solve was something the water industry is dealing with right now. How to take the yuck factor out of recycled water. So we also have another competition. It's called Problem Solvers. And what we do is we partner with the PBS program, Curiosity Quest. Last year, their problem to solve was another real world problem in California water. We charged them with developing a model community that used less than 50 gallons per person per day. But they also had some restrictions. They had to include like some community swimming pools. They had to include industrial manufacturing. You would have been astounded at their presentations. These are STEM students. They took it very seriously. So we offer them an opportunity to meet with experts. So they come to our agency, they go to breakout rooms, they are whiteboarding in their sessions. If you hear them talking, it's just incredible. And then the day of the finals, they have to present, and that's when we have Curiosity Quest filming with us. We had they had illustrations, and our panel are all experts. It was like watching an engineering firm as these students showed how they would develop a model community. It's really about tasking them with solving a problem. These students want to take ownership of what their part is in society. It's simply an invitation. Help us solve these problems. And that's what really helps them stay engaged in this program. There's also scholarship money in this as well. So with the essay contest, it is a $3,000 scholarship for first place. The 2 runner-ups each get $1,000 for college. With the problem solvers, it is a $3,000 scholarship for a STEM program at their schools, and then $1,000 each to the 2 runner-ups. It is amazing, and one year I had a group of students in between filming. They were planning their own environmental firm because they were working on this program. So that is the key to engaging this generation. Give them a real problem to solve, because they really, really do want to change the world.
That's awesome. Oh, that's so awesome. So I always talk about dreams, right? We have dreams for the future, and the dreams are kind of nebulous, but you don't have hope, my definition, until you have a plan. And that's a plan, and that gives me hope. So super cool. So tell us about your experience. Tell us how your participation sort of changed your mind, and what's your plans? Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Yeah, so definitely, this Water Summit event definitely opened my eyes to what water professionals do on a daily basis, which is a really great opportunity. You know, growing up as a kid, I never knew exactly what I wanted to do when I grew up. So this event really helped shape me and show me that water, we're always going to need water to survive. So the water field is definitely a great place to go, and the summit definitely showed me through some of these breakout sessions and guest speakers, showed me kind of what they do on a daily basis. And definitely in 5 years from now, I'd like to see myself graduating from Colorado State, looking for a professional water-related career, either in Colorado or maybe back at the Mojave Water Agency. But it all comes back to the fact that this essay contest was what sparked my interest in the water field. So I really do appreciate everything from the Mojave Water Agency and other agencies that do provide opportunities for students to get involved in the water community.
So we know it takes all of us, right? Collective impact. We all have to be talking about this. So I'm going to pass the mic to Frank now, and he's going to tell you what he needs from the BIA at Victor Valley, so that we can really make an impact. So what do you need?
So I went to one of our department chairs and I said, "What do you need?" And he said one of the biggest challenges that they have, and you know, our teachers are in industry, or were in industry, most of them still are, and they could tell a student 1 + 1 = 2, and they're like, okay, right? But then when someone from industry comes in and 1 + 1 is 2, then oh, now 1 + 1 is 2. Now they get it. So just more involvement. We understand, you know, as industry, you know, your time is money. It's difficult to, you know, invest your time. But if you can, just be more involved with your local community colleges. Check out the programs. See what these students are doing. Talk to them. You know, see the hands-on, and just we don't just teach the hands-on components as well. There's, you know, professionalism and things like that. But give these students an opportunity, because they are hungry. They are skilled. They are moldable. They're ready to go, and be involved. You know, it's a simple thing like a guest lecture is very powerful. You know, we ask students when we wrap up these classes, you know, what was your biggest takeaways? And it's usually always when we do the field trips, the hands-on, and what they hear from industry. So just be involved. Whether it be, like I said, if there are internship and apprenticeship opportunities, that's amazing. That's like a great goal to have. But even if it's something more simple as like a guest speaker or field trip opportunity, things like that, they're very valuable, and they make a difference to the students' lives. And then also let us know how we can improve. You know, ultimately what we're doing doesn't meet your needs, then why are we doing it? So get involved. Let us know how we can be better, so that way we can be better for you and for our future and for the students as well.
Okay, Suresh. So how do you reach out, or who did you reach out to for a diverse pool of candidates, right? So.
Yeah, so I mentioned, you know, several of the organizations we reached out to, but we really had a strong partnership with universities and schools. We have an internship program that Cal Poly Pomona actually runs for us, but they reach out to all the different schools, and we get intern engineers. So apprenticeship program is really for electricians and mechanics, but we have an internship program for water quality people, for engineers, and so forth. We have a student intern who was at our Skinner plant here with us today. One of the key things that you have to keep in mind about that is also that in the United States, we have 10,000 water companies. I don't know if you knew that. There are 10,000 different water companies in the United States. They're all in about the same boat. 30 to 50% of their employees are eligible to retire right now, today. And as they leave, we're looking for this younger talent to bring them in. We're all competing for about the same talent, whether it be for operations technical positions or for engineering or administrative staff. So we really have to time it well. I mean, our intern just got a job at the Department of Water and Power in Los Angeles, and he asked me, so Metropolitan trained me for 8 months and didn't even interview me for a job because the timing didn't work out. So one of the things you have to keep in mind is, if we are having these programs, we also need to work hand in hand with HR and the other functions within the company to time it so that if we're training them, we're also able to then absorb them. Now, we don't mind losing them to DWP because they're a member agency. Great, we're training them, they take them, we'll get them back. But I started out, he came over. But that's something to keep in mind too. You kind of have to have coordination between all the different pieces. The left hand and the right hand needs to know what's going on so you can absorb them, or at least not lose them to BPA or some company back east, because we need that talent here in Southern California. So the other thing, realizing that we were losing so many people to retirement, we decided that we've got a big problem in entry-level management positions as well. So we have a great mechanic or electrician or an engineer, whatever it may be. We promote them to manager. We lose a really good engineer and gain a lousy manager because they just never got trained on what it takes to be a manager. It's very different. The skills are very different from what you need to be doing being an individual contributor. So what we decided was we set up something we call a management academy. It's kind of a tiered thing. We have a management academy. Above that, we have a Metropolitan Management University for people who are frontline managers, and then a Metropolitan University graduate program for middle managers, and then something for senior level and executives. Executives, of course, know everything, so we can't really get them into a class. But we try. We do job rotations and things like that. But here's what happened with our Management Academy. It's a 10-month program. Employees are allowed to apply for it. We select about 30 at a time. And they go through 1 day a month, being in a classroom or at a field facility. They get a real insight into management from subject matter experts. We have our own experts come in and talk about what their role as a manager is. We have my own staff that comes in and teaches things about time management and administrative issues and how do you motivate and engage and all the things, the soft skills that you need to know as a manager to be successful. And then at the very end, they get to do some assessments, and at the very end, they actually have to present to a group of managers about what they learned, how they would apply themselves as a manager. And again, proofs in the pudding. Here's what we know. When I put this slide together, it was 25% of the people that went through the academy, about 140 people. 25% had promoted into management. Right now it's actually 28 after last week. So more and more of those people are moving up into management. They come back and tell us how easy that transition has been because they were going in with their eyes open and with realistic expectations, knew they had a peer group that they could talk to help them through being a manager for the first time. Definitely, major support from the executive suite. They actually come and sit on panels and talk to them and tell them about when they first became a manager. And some of you can probably remember this, what the trials and tribulations were. They get to actually job shadow. We also take them out to some of our other facilities, all the way out to Colorado River, so they can see where our water actually comes from. It's from 250 miles away, and we bring it all the way here, treat it and deliver it to 19 million people in Southern California. So they get a perspective on, I'm not just doing my little job here, I'm part of the big picture of sustaining Southern California. And that's been a very successful program for us as well.
Great. So, how about a round of applause for this group, right? So we've got just about 6 to 7 minutes for questions. The whole theme is grow your own, right? Grow your own, come up with how can we really keep our folks in our community. So does anybody have any questions about apprenticeships? How do we recruit our youth? How do we engage with industry? How can we engage with you better? Oh, come on. I know that lunch is next. Thank you.
Yeah, I have a question for Suresh. Are you also involved in your apprenticeship programs with IBEW and pipe trades, or is it something that you do internally through the EAS without their participation?
The question is whether IBW is involved in our apprenticeship program. So the Joint Apprenticeship Training Committee is made up of the bargaining unit. For us, it's AFSME, American Federation of County and Municipal Agencies. So AFSME is heavily involved on the JATC. They're in the committee. They're half of the committee. And we get guidance. And actually, when those JATC meetings happen, somebody from the State Apprenticeship Board is also there. So yes, the union, the bargaining unit, has been involved right from the start. They help us tremendously in terms of the selection to keep it transparent and make sure that we're doing a fair job. They actually proctor some of it, sit on interview panels for us, we do a physical testing. They help a lot with that, make sure people can crawl through tunnels and people are not concerned about breaking their nail when they pick up a bag of cement. And it sounds like a joke, but we were trying to attract more and more women. And we actually had one candidate say, oh, if I have to pick that up, I'll break my nail. Yes, if you want to be a mechanic or electrician, those are some of the things you have to deal with. So, AFSME has been very, very helpful and a big partner with us on that program.
Thank you. Any other questions?
All right,
Yes.
I'll go ahead and do it. I'll put out my outside voice. It starts with us, elected officials and staff, to give them the resources that they need to start the program. As a board member, Yvonne comes to us and says, we need a bus ride, we need to give scholarship, we need that. We, as elected, myself, need to give them the support to start that program. You're not training them to replace you, because you're going to retire anyway.
Great, thank you.
That was a statement, not a question.
Right. So,
Thank you.
So, how often have you had a 19-year-old super excited about your industry sector in front of you? Do you love it? Right? So, well, let's pick his brain. What do we got? What do we want to know? What do we want to know from him? What do we need to know?
We gave him the third degree yesterday.
Oh, you did? Okay, we got it back here. Yes.
I'll leave it up to them.
So what was the moment that really turned the light bulb on for you?
Definitely the Water Summit, really, and the essay contest kind of led to the Water Summit event. But really, that's the first step. You know, like I said, I didn't know what I wanted to do when I grew up, kind of thing. But this, doing the research from the Orange County Water District, and just having this opportunity to learn more about water and being provided these resources definitely was the first step to making me realize kind of what I wanted to do in my future. So yeah, that's definitely the essay contest is what kind of started it for me. Plus, you know, some scholarship money too is definitely pretty nice too. So, yeah.
Yes.
What did you find in your research and your essay about the general public's appetite to using non-potable recycled water for drinking?
Yeah, so definitely it's pretty hard to convince the public that drinking highly purified recycled water is okay, and I found that it is completely fine. But I don't know, this was 2 years ago back when I did the scholarship, but yeah, just find, and there's no single answer to this question because it's all psychological, and it is completely fine to drink, but the whole PR campaign of convincing people is definitely something that no one has the answer to yet necessarily, so.
You forgot what was part of this presentation. It has been 2 years. We have them provide a video with them when they do the essay for 2 reasons. One, it's good for them to maybe tell a little bit about themselves, and 2, they have to present at the Water Summit in front of 300 plus other kids. So we want to make sure they're not going to freak out before they do that. But what Andrew did is he actually filmed himself at Orange County, okay, and at the very end, he takes a big swig of the recycled water. And part of his essay, he talked about a public outreach campaign that used his generation drinking water. I think the younger the generation is, as they see it's normal, it becomes normal to them. But you did solve the problem, Andrew, you forgot.
All right, well, we are out of time. We are at the end, and that's a great place to end because, you know, the future is bright, right? The future is bright. We've got a lot of work to do. We need to continue to pound the drum around support and funding and how we can really make this ecosystem to support our workforce development pipeline. But thank you for your engagement, and